What's up, Pools?
I'm Caden.
I'm Caston, and we got another collecting video for you today.
For the love of collecting.
Let's get it.
Yeah. Today we're doing a video on our collection of Funko Pops. We're doing our top 5 favorites.
Which was so ridiculously hard to choose when you have such large collections. Just narrowing it down to 5 feels like an impossible task, honestly.
It was. It took me the better half of probably a week to do that. And it came down to the tooth and nail, very end, which ones I actually wanted to choose and put in. It was very difficult for me.
Yeah, my problem was that I kept picking them, and then I'd see other ones, and I'd be like, oh man, that one, I like that one a lot, or I like this one, or like, oh, I can't forget that one.
We had to keep telling each other, quit looking, just pick them.
Yep. So with that said, there's a lot of beautiful pops out there, a lot of cool pops, a lot of sentimental value. But for us, these ones are a mixture of sentimental value and ones we find aesthetically pleasing, and some that the story behind them is really heartwarming. All right, my top... my 5th favorite Funko Pop, since I'm going first, I'll be the one to show you all. So my first one is King Namor from Wakanda Forever, Black Panther. I'll get the little zoom in on that. Look at that little bad boy. Alright, and then... So, a reason I chose this one is specifically for aesthetic. I am a sucker for when Funko Pop really goes all out and adds very intricate designs to their Funko Pops, and they add accessory pieces to the Funko Pop as well. So with Namor here, his headdress, when I saw that they announced it and I first saw that, I instantly fell in love. I just thought the colors, the textures, how it all ended up blending together just came out so beautifully. And I also very much enjoyed Wakanda Forever, so it was like a double win for me because I love that movie. And then to have such a good Funko Pop come out of it instead of just, just your basic ones, the bland ones where they're not doing anything or they don't have anything with them.
That basic pop structure, just a normal stance, nothing special. All of Pops are, in my own opinion, somewhat special just because I love Pops.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. They all got their own unique style. I just love when they go a little bit more into it, such as Namor here with his headdress.
Yeah, they have their own props, especially props from, say, the movies or the animes or the sports. I don't have a big appeal to sports pops.
Yeah. And you won't see any sports pops on this top 5 list today.
No.
So, but Namor, he is in my top 5 favorites, specifically just because I love his design and how in depth they went with him. And with that, I'll pass it on to you, Kaden. You get to show us your first one.
So my first one is actually first 2, just because I feel like they can't be shown alone. And they are Ellie and Joel from The Last of Us.
Let's get a close-up on these real quick.
So Joel is from The Last of Us 1, and Ellie is from The Last of Us 2, which, in my own opinion, I feel they did an amazing job on both games. And then when they came out with the show, it was good. I liked it. I did like the games more, though. And
yeah,
I played The Last of Us 1 way back when it came out on PS3, I believe.
Yeah, it was so long ago.
Yeah. I love it. It's one of my favorites. Survival horror game. Scared the crap out of me more times than I can even remember. I always go back, when I think of The Last of Us, the games, I always go back to this one scene where you're in this basement trying to start a generator with just a stupid pistol and like a shotgun, and you're sitting there pulling this generator cord and making all this noise, which always makes me anxious, which I somehow love and hate at the same time.
Funny enough, our homeboy Joel here has a shotgun.
Yeah, as the shotgun. Yeah,
that's a
it's like
remembrance.
The staple of The Last of Us, and I just think they're so cool.
Yeah,
Ellie is from The Last of Us 2, which she's got her stupid little shiv that she plays with, and she's got her blood and scars and stuff, and just so cool. Those are probably my fifth favorite of my collection.
So the next one for me, my fourth favorite in my collection, comes from an animation, a really kind of niche animation, but
I won't lie, it wasn't my favorite.
Ruby Rose from the animation Ruby, produced by Rooster Teeth, did have very experimental graphics.
Yeah.
I will say it was very rough the first season. You kind of had to stick around for the story itself versus the animation. But the reason I love this version of Ruby Rose, the 2019 San Diego Comic-Con edition, is because they put her hood on her, and I absolutely love the aesthetic, the like little Red Riding Hood aesthetic with the dark reds and then her eyes being silver. Oh, when I first saw this pop, I instantly fell in love with the eyes, and it helped me see that pops could be so much more intricate and with better designs than just simply black eyes and a pale face. You know?
I love your stance on that. The red with the silver eyes. I do want to say I love this pop.
Yes.
I love the pop.
And her scythe, again, the items with the characters showing more of their personality and more of who they are just brings so much life to it. And it's funny because I feel like a lot of people give hate to Funko Pops because they're like, oh, they're weird, they're little tiny things that just stare at you. But
Like, what's the purpose, right?
right, they're like, oh, no, thank you. But I feel like when they do stuff like this, where they add the hood, add the silver eyes, you know, go intricate on the design, it puts it on another level of just not being a little collectible toy, but a figurine, you know, something that is meant to be higher in design and quality. Although it is Funko Pop, they're kind of the entry level into collecting figurines, I feel like. But
Yeah.
that,
Okay, I'm up, and my next one is one that I feel like a lot of the younger generations will.
older generation. Oh, sorry, my bad. I interrupted.
I guess it's both, older
yeah.
and younger, but.
I thought you were going to say like younger generation would know, and I'm like, wait, no, they're not gonna know, Caden.
I hope the younger generation knows. Jim from Treasure Planet, and he is probably one of the best pops, I think, to be produced. He is actually considered a pop ride, and obviously it's because he's riding his what's it called?
Is it just called a hoverboard, or does it have an actual name?
No, it's got an actual name. I can't remember the name of the board he's riding, but he's riding his board. It's got his little engine here, solar
board.
solar board.
We'll put it
We'll
down
look
at the
that, yeah.
bottom, yeah.
But he's obviously riding his board. It's a series that Pop has done where they are on top of something, or they've got like a little platform that they're on top of. You know, they're kind of riding something, obviously. I think everybody can relate to Jim in a way because he goes from this child who's messing up, gets arrested. You know, there's so many things and feelings going on. And then by the end of the movie, you're like, Jim, you can do it. Save the world.
And that speech he's given by the what's his name? The Hook guy, Captain something. But he gives him this speech about wanting to be in the light when Jim is glowing, essentially.
Yeah.
I butchered it, obviously, but that is a very powerful, beautiful, beautiful speech.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here is my fourth favorite. I think he is amazing. He was a gift to me, and yeah, that is why he's on my list today.
Perfect. Okay, so my third favorite in my collection, we're getting up there. We're kind of cooking through this list.
Yeah.
But my third favorite comes from one of my all-time favorite video games, like top 5 video games of all time. Songbird from BioShock Infinite. I love that game so much for so many reasons. And that's a whole nother video in of itself. But the reason I love this Funko Pop so much is because when I started getting into Funko Pops, we got into it a bit later when like it hadn't blown up quite yet, but there was a lot of Funko Pops already out. Like they had pretty well established themselves. And so I was looking through lists, just seeing what was out there, and I saw that BioShock Infinite had a set, and I knew instantly like I had to get it. Like it was just I needed to collect it, and this is to me feels like the Magnus opus of that set. Just because of its size, like I'm glad they did a 10-incher or a Super Pop, I think is what they're called in this size. Just I like that they went bigger with it to show Songbird's, his height, his prowess, and I mean this thing's also pretty hefty too. It's pretty heavy, but and the design again, they just went all out on the design and capturing a lot of those small steampunk feelings of Songbird. And so I feel like they did a really great job of capturing his essence, and it's just been a staple in my collection ever since I've started collecting Funko Pops.
I like to think of him as a fly sometimes. Just every time I see this pop, I'm like, that's a fly.
I could see it.
It makes me think of A Bug's Life. The fly is the one that has the big fly.
Yeah.
The big
I
buff
can see
fly.
that.
It's like, have you been picking on my friends?
I just love this one so much.
It is really cool. I always like the bigger pops. I feel like they can put more detail into the bigger ones if they want to, of course. And it always amazes me what they do with the bigger ones.
So that is my number 3, third favorite, Songbird from BioShock Infinite.
It's a good one. It's an oldie.
Yep.
Okay, my third one is from an anime. And he is not in a box today. There's a few that won't be in boxes. This is Tokoyomi from My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia isn't necessarily one of my favorite animes. I do like it, but Tokoyomi specifically is probably my favorite character from My Hero, and also my favorite pop out of most of the My Hero pops. Yeah, so part of why I like him so much is obviously his power. You can kind of see his dark shadow.
Dark Shadow, yep.
Yeah, his dark shadow, and that is his power in the anime. The pop, of course, they kind of gave him some cool texture. He's kind of a purplish black color on all this black.
I love how smooth Funko Pops look. Like this
Yeah.
just brings me joy. Like this smooth, the way the light's like gradient. It's not like a painted on sticky look. It's very smooth, and I feel like he does such a good job of exemplifying that. Like the way they did his mask, his beak, and
Another reason why I like Tokiyomi so much is because he's a bird. I love birds.
I almost went caw caw caw.
What's up, dog? But yeah, I have a weird affinity for birds, and I think he is the coolest, partially because he is a bird, and his dark shadow resembles a bird, and it's really cool how I feel like in the anime, at some point, spoiler, he learns how to fly because of dark shadow, and he goes to train with hawks and becomes like super fast in his own way, and it's a super cool pop, I think. Oh, the other thing, he's got like that glaring look.
Yeah.
His eyes, instead of doing like the full eye on like most pops do, he has that half eye that gives him that glaring, staring you down look, which just looks super cool to me. Yeah, that is my third favorite.
Sweet. So following along the trend of anime, my second favorite of my entire collection is from Tokyo Ghoul. It is Kaneki. I can never pronounce it right. Kakuja?
Yeah, Kakuja.
Kakuja? I added a j. Kakuja. Anyways, this Funko Pop is my second because one, I love Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul is one of my all-time favorite mangas, anime. I just absolutely love the aesthetic, everything about it, the dark psychological thriller. And I feel like they went all out on this Funko Pop. Again, it was one that when I was getting into collections or collecting Funko Pops, I looked to see what ones had Funko Pops, which one didn't. And when I laid my eyes on this, it was just instant. I fell in love. I just love how they integrated the centipede part of it and how they designed it and how they posed him. To me, it just exemplifies that kind of madness he's feeling in that moment and how they portrayed that. And it's crazy to show that such simple means can portray such big emotions, and I feel like that's what Funko does. I feel like they did a really good job exemplifying the characteristics of this moment and how they added the design to everything. And I just love how glossy it looks. Like the centipede looks glossy, so just little happy thoughts, little dopamine feelings for that.
If I had this pop, it would be in my top 5.
So that's just a baller pop, in my opinion. But yeah, that is my second favorite Funko Pop in my entire collection. Half Kakuja Kaneki.
My second favorite is actually an anime as well.
Ooh!
And
going
this
in
one,
on the anime.
also out of the box, is Jiraiya on a toad. The toad doesn't have a name, it's just a random toad that they put into it. Jiraiya on a toad also falls under the series of pop rides. And obviously it's because he's riding a toad. Part of why I like this one so much is actually the necklace on the toad. I don't know why that stands out to me, but that part right there just is one of my favorites. It feels so out of place. It sets it apart. It's very different from the rest of the pop. And then also Jiraiya, he's one of my favorites from the anime Naruto, which is one of my favorite animes, actually. I'll get a lot of hate for that in the
Nothing wrong with that.
genre pool, but yeah.
I also very much love this Funko Pop. Like,
Yeah.
again, just, they did such a good job.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of following a trend in my series of favorites, but the pop rides. When they add a different structure to the pop that isn't very widely seen in all the pops, it's just kind of stands out to me, and I like that a lot in the pop rides. I guess going into this one a little bit more, it adds a sense of nostalgia because I used to watch Naruto growing up, and it being one of my favorite animes, this one stands out a lot to me, and it just makes me feel good inside. It's like, I gotta have it. I love it. I want it. Yeah, the dopamine of having it and seeing it up on the shelf or positioned around the house. It makes me feel good having this one, and I love the toad. His eyes, his face, the design. It kind of makes it look like a cursed toad. If you look at it and you've seen the show, Cursed Sasuke, it looks so cool.
It's like the smooth coloring itches the smooth part of my brain.
You don't have a smooth brain.
No bumpers, lunches, or lunches.
No bunches or lunches.
No ridges, just a smooth brain. And that's what I see when I see the smooth. I'm like, oh, smooth.
Yeah. That is my second, guys. He is amazing. He is awesome. Yeah, I love his hair, how spiky it is. Makes me feel good.
Okay, now we are on to our favorite Funko Pops of our collections, which is really hard to narrow down one specific one to be your favorite because there's so many that have so many feelings, so many like emotions, and like are artistically or aesthetically pleasing. But this one for me is a very, very special one because it is quite literally one of the cornerstones to my collection, a cornerstone piece. It is from One Piece, another anime. It is Law, and it is his first version, so his first ever Funko Pop made of him, and the one that if you collect One Piece Funko Pops, you know it is vaulted, and it is very hard to find now.
And where did you get this again?
So I got this at Hastings. It was an old store that had a lot of pop culture things into it. There's a lot of stores like it. It's the one stores you go into that it's like one section has cards, like playing cards, one section has video games, one section has movies, books. It's like an absolute just marketplace of all things collectible, essentially. Unfortunately, it did go out of business, but that's what also makes this a little bit more special to me, is that
It's the story behind it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's like getting it at a store that no longer exists. But I also got Funko Pops. Like when I got into collecting Funko Pops, my very first ones were One Piece. Like that for me was the all I was going to collect. I was very set on I wanted all the One Piece ones, which was attainable up until recently. Blew up,
Over
but
the years, One Piece has just gotten bigger and bigger and
yeah,
bigger. They keep coming out with new ones,
yeah.
more expensive ones. It just keeps getting the One Piece cloud just keeps getting bigger
Oh
and
my
bigger.
gosh.
It amazes me.
Like I'm excited for because I remember saying when we got into collecting being like, wow, I'm surprised One Piece doesn't have as many. Like I feel like they could do a ton. And I might regret that a little bit because
They
they are
Google heard you on
yeah,
that one.
yeah, Funko was like bet. And so another special thing about this one is that it feels good when you buy something at like its cost and then over time it picks up popularity and it becomes more than what you bought it for. It just gives you a good little feeling. And that's what happened with him is that I actually bought him directly from the store Hastings. And when we really got into Funko collecting, because I was just buying these just because I loved One Piece and wanted One Piece Pops. But when we got into more of the collecting aspects and got to see, you know, what these were, what people were paying for them and how they were going, like their prices and such, it was cool to see that he became one of my most expensive Pops in my collection.
Yeah.
And that usually that doesn't happen to me. Usually I'm the guy that's buying it at like its most expensive point and then it drops afterwards. So it feels nice to have one that I bought, kept, and now it's just going to continually to grow in its value, which I more love it because it's One Piece and it's Law because he's dope. But this one definitely is the top favorite for me and the cornerstone of my entire collection.
My top favorite out of my collection is another anime, of course, but Asuna from Sword Art Online. And she is the first Asuna out of the One Piece, out of the Sword Art Online series.
Yep.
And unfortunately, she was bought at a high price. Really cool. Asuna is from Sword Art Online, and she is of two in the set, her and Kirito. I love Sword Art Online. I love the story. I love the romance factor. Burly Caden likes the romance in a show.
Soft man at heart.
I'm a soft guy at heart. I think she is so beautiful. I want to take her out of this box, but I don't know if I ever will. I love her outfit. I love her eyes. They give her little eyelashes, which kind of is different in pop culture.
So you can tell this one's like super old.
Oh,
is
yeah, yeah.
because newer Funko Pops have a like larger face. Like they went wider and more flat on their face. So if you like grab Joel, you can see Joel's face is a little bit more flat and is a little bit more like it's got more color. It's more of a tan. Or no, actually it's more pale. Where Asuna's is more rounded and it's more got that kind of tan look to it, and that is a sign of just an
older pop.
Yeah, because the first ones that they did, they went heavy on that look.
Yeah.
And then over time, they've leaned more towards the flattening and making it wider.
Okay, so another thing that I like about Asuna and Sword Art Online is I started watching it a long time ago. I think when it first started coming out and it was airing on... Oh, not airing, but they were releasing it on Netflix. And that was the only form of entertainment and TV that I had when I was younger, on the Wii.
The Dark Ages.
The Dark Ages. Yeah, and we just didn't have TV, or I didn't really get on the internet a whole lot. I just used Netflix, basically. And season 1 came out on Netflix, and I watched it, and I was in love with it. I loved it so much. I love that isekai feeling. It's a little cliche now, You know, there's everything you see out on the web now is isekai this, isekai that, and
But this is like the grandfather.
this was like the grandfather.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this set the precedent.
it did. It was again. There was a lot before this. It has always been an isekai in some form or another, but this being a video game, you know, the augmented reality and all that just was amazing. It was something I dream of in the future, something I want to experience at some point. So that is my number one, my top favorite, and will probably be there for a long time. I think Asuna and Kirito are just amazing, and the anime is amazing, and yeah.
Alrighty, and that wraps up our top 5 favorite Funko Pops from each of our collections. I feel like we had good variety. I mean, anime kind of rounded out the tops, at least the top 3s of ours, which is to be expected.
From us, we're into anime. We
Yep.
like anime pops
Yep.
and anime itself. So, yeah, I feel like top 3 being anime is
It makes
a
sense.
good representation of us.
Yep. And a lot of what you're going to see from us is anime, so yeah, again, it just makes sense that anime would hold such a high place in our collections. But thank you again for watching. We appreciate the support. And let us know in the comments down below, what are your favorite Funko Pops in your collections? Whether that be a niche one or whether it be an emotional experience one you got from somebody. Just let us know down in the comments.
Yeah, we love to see feedback. It'll be great to hear from anybody and everybody that sees our video. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.